Don't ruin the mood. Your sister really needs this. My mother texted me. I woke up in a white room with the taste of gauze in my mouth and a sharp tug in my side. The monitor beside me beeped steadily. Sterile light. Ceiling tiles. Somewhere someone was speaking softly. I tried to sit up. A dull pain bloomed through my abdomen, like something stitched wrong. A nurse appeared, clipboard in hand. You had an emergency appendectomy, she said gently. Laparoscopic. You're okay now. Where's my family? She hesitated. They said they were flying to Hawaii. Something about a pre-booked family trip. My throat burned. I motioned toward the table. She handed me my phone. One text from my mother. Don't ruin the mood. Rachel really needs this. No missed calls. No voicemail. Just that line, flat and final. I opened my photo gallery. The last picture was a packing list, mine. I'd typed it out 2 weeks ago, color-coded and itemized. Passport renewal. Rachel's allergy meds. Dad's compression socks. Everything had been planned. The itinerary printed. Flights booked under my account. We'd waited 2 years for this. I'd waited. Postponed it 3 times for work. For Rachel's therapy, for Dad's cardiology schedule. I checked the calendar app. My last entry. Surgery consult Thursday. Should be out. Same day. I hadn't been. I tapped open Instagram. Rachel boarding a plane. Finally breathing again. Family first. Next slide her toes in the sand. Captioned with a pineapple emoji. A notification popped up. Shared location active. They were checked into a resort. Oceanfront luau package. I zoomed in on the reservation email. My name on the original booking. Rachel's listed as guest, their return flights. Tuesday. I turned off the screen. The IV line tugged slightly as I shifted. No flowers on the nightstand, no tray of soup with a note. Just a half-used hand sanitizer bottle and the echo of my own breath. In that moment, I understood something clearly. They weren't on vacation. They were gone, and they had chosen to leave me behind. The first time Rachel had a panic attack. I was the one who held her hand in the ER waiting room while our parents debated parking fees. She was 16. I was 19. After that, I learned how to refill her prescriptions, track her appointments, explain her history to new therapists when she couldn't speak. I learned how to carry the weight quietly. That pattern held. When Mom's knee started locking, I found the physical therapist in network. When Dad forgot his pills twice in a week, I bought a plastic organizer and labeled it by color. When Rachel failed out of her first job, I rewrote her resume twice and pretended I didn't notice her crying in the bathtub. I wasn't praised, I was useful. That was the role. Callie takes care of things, like a slogan. Rachel once said, "You're so calm, like nothing ever shakes you." What she didn't understand was, I didn't have time to shake. The Hawaii trip was my idea. A break. Just once I started the fund the winter before. A separate savings account, every freelance check, every unspent bonus. I skipped birthdays, declined invitations. I budgeted it down to the scent of the shampoo. I wanted to pack. Rachel called it my escape folder. I didn't correct her. Then she got dumped. Her boyfriend, the yoga instructor who only liked her when she paid for dinner. Ended things 2 months before our departure. She cried for 5 days. Mom started talking about maybe postponing. Rachel said she couldn't breathe. Dad said we should just go early. So we changed the booking. Moved it up 2 weeks. I told them to go ahead. I'd follow after my client review. It wasn't ideal, but I could catch up. The surgery wasn't scheduled. It was sudden. A Friday morning pain that turned into a Friday night. Table lights above me. A masked voice saying, "Count back from 10. By the time I opened my eyes again, they were already in Maui. I scrolled through my call history in that hospital bed. No one had called. Not Mom, not Rachel, not even a nurse with a, "Hey, your daughter's in post-op." Nothing. A nurse later told me they'd left a voicemail with my emergency contact. Rachel. She never returned the call. I thought back to the packing list I'd written, the one I'd saved in notes. It was still there. Cali sand-resistant sunscreen. Rachel motion sickness. Bands. Mom ankle brace. Dad hat BP monitor. Everything in order. Everyone accounted for. Except me. In the end, I wasn't a sister or a daughter. I was a coordinator with a pulse, and when the trip finally happened, it wasn't ours, it was hers. Mine was the version with anesthesia. Theirs was the one with breakfast buffets. I looked again at that single text from Mom. "Don't ruin the mood. Rachel really needs this." There wasn't a word in it that had room for me, not even a question mark. The hospital discharged me on Sunday afternoon. No one came to pick me up. I signed the release forms with a plastic pen attached to a chain. The nurse asked if I had someone waiting. I lied and said yes. I took a rideshare home, moving slowly up the apartment steps, each one tugging at the incision. When I got inside, the thermostat blinked the same number I'd left it at. No one had touched anything. The fridge still held pre-chopped vegetables for a trip that wasn't mine anymore. I sat on the couch with my laptop open, the shared account. It was the same one we used to coordinate trip expenses. Initially, everyone had pitched in. I'd covered the upfront costs waiting for reimbursements that never came. The balance was lower than expected. A lot lower. Transaction history showed 3 large withdrawals. One $800 marked Oasis Spa Group. Another Tuasus as $600. Royal Kolana Resort, Premier Suite, and $3,000 even upgrade, International Business Class. I clicked through the confirmation emails. Rachel's name, Rachel's guest count, Rachel's contact info. The bookings had been updated 2 days before my surgery. She'd forwarded her new itinerary to Mom. Subject FYI, changed return flight body. Don't worry about Callie's dates. She said she might not make it anyway. There was no record of that conversation. I opened Instagram. Rachel had posted a story 12 hours ago. Her at the edge of an infinity pool, cocktail in hand. The caption, "Finally breathing again. Family. First." The irony wasn't subtle. Another photo showed her wrapped in a pineapple print robe posing beside the ocean at sunset. The comments were full of flame emojis, and "you deserve it" replies. Mom had commented a heart. Dad had liked it. I typed Rachel's name into the airline app we shared. Pulled up the active reservations. My email still had access. Return flight. Tuesday 9 to 45 p.m. local time. First class. Reserved under my frequent flyer number. I hadn't just been left behind. I'd paid for their seats. My hand hovered over the trackpad. I scrolled back to the original booking mine, the one I made 6 months ago. I remembered each field I'd filled, the emergency contacts, the luggage count, the special meals. It still said, "Primary traveler, Cali Rhodes." There was a time when I used to love traveling, not for the luxury, just the planning, the systems, knowing everyone was accounted for, no surprises. I closed the browser. Reopened the inbox. Typed Rachel into the search bar. An old thread came up. Dozens of forwarded confirmations, links to weather forecasts, group chats about who would pack what. In one message, I'd attached a spreadsheet labeled Shared Costs, Final. The spreadsheet was still there, the payments weren't. Somehow everything had shifted under me. The hotel upgrades, the spa sessions, the room service charges. They were all under the card I'd attached. My card. I refreshed the page. The pending total had increased by $84. Dinner at the resort's fine dining restaurant. Charge to room 314. I remembered that room number. It was the one I'd chosen because it faced the beach at an angle away from the noise, a good view for reading. I zoomed in on the hotel's confirmation PDF. At the top was my name. At the bottom, under Guest Preferences, it said Birthday Celebration for Rachel Rhodes. I stared at the screen for a long time. No part of this was an accident, no mix-up, no misunderstanding. They had planned for me to be absent. They'd made space not for me, but in spite of me. I got up and walked to the kitchen, opened the fridge, closed it again, poured water, didn't drink it, sat back down. There was a kind of clarity in that moment, hard-edged and quiet. I wasn't supposed to see any of it, but I had. And now they didn't get to decide what I did with it. I didn't confront them. There was nothing to argue, no confusion to clear. Every document, every charge, every photo was its own quiet confession. They'd made their choice. Now it was my turn. I opened the airline's booking portal and logged into the master itinerary, still under my account. I clicked Manage Reservation. A confirmation code blinked back at me. The return leg was untouched. Tuesday, 9:45 p.m. First class. 3 seats. Callie Rhodes, owner. Rachel Rhodes, guest. Thomas and Diane Rhodes. Guest +1. I clicked Cancel. Flight 1 by 1. No insurance refund. No rescheduling. Just canceled. A second later, the cancellation emails landed in my inbox. Final, irreversible. Then I logged into the shared account, what was left of it. Balance $342.17. Still in my name. I transferred it out, closed the account entirely. Then I opened my contacts and selected 3 names. Mom, Dad, Rachel, block. Block done. There was no satisfaction, only a stillness. I left my apartment just after dusk, called an Uber to a cabin I'd rented months ago but never visited. It was meant to be a quiet place to recover from burnout, back when I still believed burnout was something temporary. I didn't tell anyone where I was going. The key was under a plastic rock by the porch. Inside the space smelled like cedar and soap. The fridge was stocked from a delivery order I'd scheduled earlier. I unpacked slowly, one sweater at a time, then sat at the old desk by the window and opened my laptop. The blog was easy to set up, a free domain. Basic layout. No comments section. Title: The Caregiver's Exit Plan. First post: When they leave you on the table. I didn't write it like a memoir. I wrote it like a manual. Bullet points. Receipts, dates. How to book a family vacation and become invisible in your own plan. How to get erased while your name still pays the bills. How to wake up with stitches and realize the only person coming to get you is yourself. I published it. Then closed the laptop. The next morning I made coffee on the gas burner. Water boiled fast in the mountain air. I drank it on the porch, knees covered in a blanket, watching fog move between the trees like something alive. Around noon the texts began. Rachel, did you cancel our flights? I didn't reply. Mom, you're being very dramatic. Rachel needed this. We all did. I muted the number. Dad, we're still your family. Fix this. I stared at his message for a long time, then I turned off the phone completely. That evening, I planted thyme and basil in the cabin windowsill. There was a box of ceramic pots someone had left behind, painted with blue flowers. I found soil behind the tool shed. The silence here didn't feel empty. It felt earned. The next day, I checked the blog stats out of idle curiosity. 57 views, then 200, then 800. An email came in from someone named Mia. I thought I was the only one. Thank you. A few hours later, my sister did the same thing after our mom's funeral. They only remember me when something breaks. Your story is mine. I didn't respond. Just kept writing. I didn't write for them. I wrote because if I didn't, I might forget what silence feels like when it isn't a punishment but a boundary. By the end of the week, Rachel had posted on Instagram, "Some people rewrite history so they can play the victim." Underneath, Mom commented a broken heart emoji. But comments don't overwrite records. Screenshots don't lie. Booking confirmations don't change. And when other people started sharing those screenshots, old texts, emails, the ones Rachel didn't delete, the story began shifting, not in my voice, in theirs. Let them talk. I had herbs to water. The blog didn't explode overnight. It spread like slow fire, steady, intentional quiet, until it wasn't. The second week I woke to 50 new emails. Most came from women. Some from names I recognized. Others I didn't, but the stories felt familiar. My brother says I'm bitter. Every time I say no. I kept my family together through a divorce. They still blame me for the tension. My mom cried more when I stopped cooking than when I stopped talking to her. There was no viral hashtag, no trending moment, just a slow stacking of stories like mine. And the truth is, I didn't need a headline. I just needed to know I wasn't speaking into an empty room. Rachel's online presence changed too. Her posts became shorter, less color. One photo, a drink on a windowsill. Caption: People show their true colors when you stop being useful. Another, a black and white selfie. Caption: Some things can't be fixed. Mom commented again. We raised her better than this. That one made its way to Reddit. Screenshots circled back to me. Not that I asked. Readers sent them highlighted. Annotated. Didn't this woman leave her daughter post-surgery? Callie's receipts are all dated. Their names are on the bookings. No embellishment, just proof. A small publication reached out. Asked if I'd be willing to let them feature the blog. I didn't respond. Instead, I rearranged the cabin furniture, moved the desk under the window, hung up a small chalkboard to track which herbs were sprouting. Basil took to the light quickly. Rosemary didn't. I liked that about it. I spent more time offline. The silence was an absence. It was boundary. I let people misread me if they needed to. Let them guess why I didn't respond to Rachel's. Are we really doing this email? I wasn't doing anything to her. I was just done doing things for her. One afternoon, I opened my old planner and flipped through it. Each tab still labeled Medical Travel Finance. Everything color-coded, everything built for someone else. I tore out the pages one by one. Not in anger, just necessity, like pruning something that grew too long in the wrong direction. The old version of me might have called it a waste. This version knew better. Some roles aren't lost, they're shed. And some silences aren't voids. They're escape routes. 3 weeks after the hospital, I walked a full mile without stopping. The stitches were gone, the bruising had faded. The silence hadn't. I didn't mind. I never went back to the old job. I drafted the resignation email one morning, then let it sit in drafts for a day. When I reread it, it felt right. Thank you for the opportunity. I've moved on. That was enough. A therapist. I'd followed quietly online, reached out. Said she'd been following the blog. Asked if I wanted to co-develop a resource for people like us. The quiet fixers, the ones who get erased mid-task. We called it How to Set Boundaries When Your Family Thinks You're Built for Carrying. The download numbers surprised us. The thank you messages didn't. Someone invited me to speak on a podcast. Invisible no more. I almost declined. Then I didn't. The interviewer asked, "Do you hate them?" I thought about it. Then said, "No, I just finally realized I didn't owe them every piece of me." That line made it to the episode title. I didn't listen to the full interview. I didn't need to hear my voice out loud to know it was mine. After it aired, someone left a voicemail. "Callie, we should talk. No name. I deleted it. That night I lit a candle on the cabin porch. Just one. No celebration, no ritual, just space. I opened my laptop again. Not to check analytics, not to write. Just to open my travel folder. I'd renamed it. Places I don't owe anyone. I picked a city. Booked a single seat. Under my name. No +1. No shared itinerary. No explanation. Just departure.
They erased her because she was convenient to forget, but she walked away on her own terms without shouting, without asking. Just proof silence and one-way tickets at Reddit Reveal. We don't tell stories for closure. We tell them so someone out there feels less alone. So if you've ever carried the weight no one saw, you're not invisible here. What would your exit plan look like? Tell us in the comments. Someone out there needs to hear it.